And we're joined here at our Covent Garden Market studio by Jamie Donaldson of Donaldson Home Services. Jamie, great to chat with you. Thanks for coming in, having a conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about Donaldson Heating and Cooling. How did it start? How did it come about? I know there's a cool origin story with the business.
Yeah, 2013, I was working for another more multinational organization and had an opportunity to go out on my own. So took the pickup truck I had, picked up a license, and away we went. March 27, 2013. I was one man in a truck, better part of a few months, and slowly growing it from there.
And here we are today, and you've got a whole team, and it's one of the leading home comfort businesses in the entire city. So how did it just over 10 years time go from just you and a truck to where we are now?
A lot of aspects that came into play. I mean, shortly after we started, we grew at 2 or 3 guys. Mm-hmm. I acquired another company in town that was similar in size, brought us to about 6, and then we stagnated and kind of stayed there for 4 or 5 years. 2019, we stepped back and took a look at our branding, took a look at how we approach the market, the product offerings that we did, and completely changed how we approach the market, how we approach the offerings that we had. That's when the yellow trucks came out. We rebranded all of our vehicles. At the time, I think we had 8 vehicles on the road. We had 9 staff.
Yeah, the yellow trucks stand out. When you see them on the road, you know where they're from. Yeah,
yeah. A lot of theory that went into the branding on that, but at the end of the day, if you want to be recognized, you need to be seen. Mm-hmm. Right? We have a common discussion in the trades industry about the white truck syndrome. Right, every trades guy's got a white truck, black lettering, blue lettering, and that's pretty much how everybody does. So when you see that vehicle a block away, you know it's a trades truck, but you have no idea who it is. When we rebranded, we wanted it to be the case where if you saw us 3 blocks away, you knew who we were. Right. It's about connecting to the subconsciousness of people. So we did that in 2019, and since then we've added no fewer than 10 people to our staff every year. Wow. So as we stand right now, I've got 44 vehicles on the road, and we're sitting at, I believe, 54 staff. Wow. And we've expanded from heating and air conditioning to we now do plumbing, electrical, renovations. We've gone into duct cleaning, so we've quite extensively expanded beyond just heating and air conditioning.
So what was it that was sort of the hole in the business? What was missing from either the local market or from the business in general that made you think, okay, I should go out on my own because I'm going to do something that some of the big companies aren't doing?
I work with other companies about, why they go into business. And a lot of great tradespeople at some point in time try and start their own business. That's a fairly common understanding. Really, it breaks down to 2 things. People start their own businesses for 1 of 2 reasons. Either they felt like the company they were working at wasn't treating them well, or they felt like the company they were working for wasn't treating their clients well. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, that's what I came from. Right. I came from an organization where I felt like both the staff and the clients were more numbers than they were individuals. I was raised with the belief from my father that if you serve people well and you care for the people, success tends to follow that.
Right.
So when I started the business, that had been my focus. It still is to this day. My focus is we want to sit there and recognize that each individual that we do business with is an individual. They are a person. They have different desires, different needs, different things that they're looking for within their organization. We focus on them. When we're at somebody's home, our focus is them. It's not productivity. It's not revenue generation. It's not get to the next call. We're here for them.
Let's talk about heat pumps, because there's a lot of conversation about, how people can have the heat pump come in and there's efficiency conversations surrounding that. So why are heat pumps such a big thing right now?
The initial drive for heat pumps really came from carbon neutral, right? It's anytime we burn a fuel, right? Whether that's wood, gas, oil, propane, you name it. Anytime we burn a fuel, one of the byproducts is carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. Heat pump is electrical based, right? So to make it easy, a lot of people don't recognize that heat pump is something we already have in our home. Everybody has a fridge in their home, and their fridge is a heat pump, right? All a heat pump does is it moves heat. So it takes heat from one area and it puts it into a different area. Your fridge takes heat from inside of the fridge where it's cold and moves it outside into the home.
Right.
Put your hand behind the fridge, it's warm.
Warm. Yep.
You got it. So all a heat pump does is on a much larger scale, acts kind of like the air conditioner in that we're taking the heat from inside of the house and putting it outside during the summer. That's what cools our house down. During the winter, we're taking the heat from outside. Even though it's minus 10, minus 15 degrees outside, there's still heat in that air, and we're moving it into the home. It does it more efficiently. To create heat costs, say, 97 cents, or we get 97% heat out of every dollar we invest. With a heat pump, you get $3.50 or 3.5 units to 4.5 units of heat for every dollar you invest. So it's significantly less to move heat than it is to create heat.
Right.
That's what a heat pump does, is it takes the heat and it moves it.
Right. And the government, if they're looking for ways to get you to cut down on emissions and so forth, they want you buying heat pumps, right?
Absolutely. So the government signed the Paris Accord with regards to having to hit certain targets from a carbon emission standpoint. One of the largest ways that we emit carbon in Canada is through our home heating.
Right.
So the only way we're ever going to hit that target is if we reduce the reliance on natural gas, reliance on oil, or reliance on propane. By switching to electric heat and then creating forms of producing electricity that don't rely on carbon-based fuel, we're able to hit the targets that we need to. Now, the advantage is, especially with carbon tax and the increased cost of carbon-based fuels, is we can hit those targets and keep our houses cooler and warmer at a cheaper cost.
And I think that's what everybody wants to see is you want to spend less money and you want to have a cooler, warmer house, whatever time of year it is. And I know there's government rebates and things on those lines. In fact, you were just recording a spot where you're talking about it. So there's ways in order to, if there's big investments you got to make in your home for something like this, there's ways that you can find a few dollars to help you out with that.
Absolutely. So there's a rebate rate now out there for heat pumps.
Right.
It's around energy efficiency of the home. You have to do a couple of items. Windows, doors, insulation, something else in order to qualify for the rebate. But they also have a 0% interest option right now, where the government is backing loans on 10-year payment plans in order to do a heat pump change. If it's something you don't have the money to invest in right now, getting something at 0% can save you thousands and thousands of dollars over the 10 years. Additionally, to give you an example, in my home, we switched and put a heat pump into our house about a year ago. Mm-hmm. My natural gas bill from a year ago went from about $950 for the year to we spent less than $200 this year.
Wow.
My hydro bill, we've seen an increase of about $200. So I'm saving
you're still ahead
a year, right?
Yeah.
The cost of the equipment is one of those things where the savings you're going to get, it really wouldn't justify switching it just for the sake of switching it.
Right.
But if you are at a point that you need to do something with your furnace or your air conditioner, I'd highly recommend moving to a heat pump.
Yeah, as opposed to putting just another furnace or air conditioner. I was just going to ask that because I've got a furnace in my house that I think it put in 2019, so not quite time to replace it yet. But by the time it is, that's when you go to heat pump, I guess.
Yeah, or if the AC is coming due, because we can tie in a heat pump to the existing furnace.
Right. Yeah, there's that too. So there's the government rebates, and there's a lot of other things to consider if you're looking forward to doing big things with heating and cooling your home. Anything else going on either with Donaldson or just in the heating and cooling industry that you think people should know about or be thinking about right now as they're looking at what's going on with their homes?
So one of the big things that we're seeing going on right now, and I'm going to say on the refrigeration side specifically, we've used a refrigeration called R410A. I don't want to get too technical with it, but it's a type of refrigerant that we've been using now for about 12 to 15 years. That refrigerant is being phased out. It's being phased out very quickly. So every manufacturer is coming out with new refrigerants. There's two different options that they're coming out with, but we're seeing a drastic increase in pricing with those refrigerants as they're coming. So from a standpoint of kind of getting ahead of it, if you're looking to do something, you're best to get that done in the next few months. It's going to see a significant increase coming in next year with regards to equipment costs simply because of the new refrigerant. Beyond that, I mean, there's a lot of options out there, a lot of technologies coming out. Water heaters, tankless water heaters. We're getting into some electrical components. We're starting to see more and more issues with hydro in the grid. So we're starting to see things like surge protectors and that kind of stuff that people are really interested in order to protect the investments they have in their home and the materials that they purchase. So there's a lot of stuff out there that we can invest in. It really comes down to everybody's individual needs, though, so it's difficult to speak as a general.
Sure. And before we wrap up, we're getting towards the end of summer. I know it's hard to believe, but summer's almost gone, fall's almost here. So as we're getting from the cooling season to the heating season, what should people be looking for in their homes and be preparing for as we're transitioning that way?
So, as with everything, when you're switching from a summer season to a winter season, it's really about sealing up your home. It's about preparing everything, bringing in stuff from outside. There's the standard stuff you always do going from season to season. Specifically within our industry, heating and cooling as an example, we always recommend that you have your furnace inspected or maintained. A lot of people go years and years without ever having it looked at. Again, byproducts of anything burning fuel, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, these are dangerous components and gases to be let into your home.
Right.
It's not really a fear thing. It's more just recognizing that this is something in your house that you want to maintain, you want to take care of. It's going to save you money. It's going to keep you safe. It's going to prepare you for a warm winter.
There you go. Anything else you want to talk to us about, Jamie, before we wrap up?
Nothing specific.
Thank you so much for joining us and having a cool conversation with us. We appreciate it.